Good evening. Today we are starting off our week of hope and empowerment. Specifically, today we're going to talk about helping children and teens cope during the holiday season. However, some of the tips and things that I share are things that teens experience or children experience throughout the year. So, of course, you can use these coping strategies to assist a youth in your life, or if you are a youth, you can use these skills and strategies to help you as you try to deal with any feelings of anxiety, depression, stress, feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, feeling like you want to give up. You can use these coping strategies. So let's get into it. So children and teens might be experiencing academic end of the year pressure from school. Sometimes the holidays can collide with finals and assignments and other school obligations, and this can sometimes lead to heightened stress and a sense of being overwhelmed. For some teens who this is their senior year and they could potentially be applying for college or trying to figure out just overall what they're going to do with their life, this can be a very stressful time because December is the halfway mark for the end of their senior year. And so whether they want to go to college or whether they want to learn a trade, whether they want to start their own business, whether they want to take a gap year, they still could be feeling some level of stress, just that it is coming up really fast and just having some uncertainty about exactly what steps they need to take. Also, there could be feelings of stress and feeling overwhelmed, sadness, and depression from the loss of a loved one. Some teens are experiencing loss during the holidays, and sometimes children and teens can also be experiencing a change in family dynamics, and that can also put a strain on the holidays and also can lead them to feel like they're having some challenges. So that could be around divorce. If their parents have divorced, this could be their first holiday with their parents that are separated. So they could have to figure out what they're going to do, whether they're going to be with their mom or whether they're going to be with their dad. And so that can always be challenging if one parent has remarried or if one parent is serious about seeing someone else. That can seem stressful, like nobody understands. There could still be some hurt from the divorce or separation, and now there's a new person. And so we just want to be gentle with teens and children in this area, because even though the parent has moved on, or even though the parent maybe seeing somebody new, this can be a really challenging time for teenagers, and they could feel like nobody really understands them. They could make the assumption that people want them to move forward when they're not ready. And so I would just encourage just being gentle with them, because sometimes these holidays can amplify feelings, especially if there was traditionally like family gatherings and now those things have changed. There could be some financial difficulties, and the kids could be feeling the result of that. They could be desiring certain Christmas presents, or they could be desiring to want to go on vacation, or they could desire to just have some things that they feel like they don't have. And that can kind of put some feelings of stress and can also affect their mental health. There can also be some social expectations and comparison that come along too, with wanting to get certain things for the holidays, or feeling like people at their school are traveling and they're not, or feeling like people are going to come back to school with all these new clothes and shoes and coats and everything, and they won't have that. So that can also create some feelings of comparison. It can make teens sometimes feel like they don't measure up, especially if they're engaging in social media over the holidays and other people are posting things about getting together with friends, or this person had this party and they weren't invited. And so whether it's seeing those holiday celebrations or feeling excluded from other plans, this can be a really trying time for teens. So that comparison can sometimes lead to feelings of inadequacy. It can also lead to feelings of loneliness. And if there are any unresolved emotions or feelings of loneliness, they can also be heightened during the holidays. So for some people, the holidays can highlight feelings of sadness or isolation. Teens might struggle with some emotions that they have that they aren't saying anything about. And even though they may experience feelings of loneliness throughout the year, but now their routine has kind of come to a halt. They're not going to school every day. They're not around people. They could just be at home trying to figure out what to do, and they could be feeling really, really lonely. And so this is also something to look out for when kids are isolating themselves in their room and just trying to check on them and just make sure they're okay. They might struggle with making this time, the holidays, like fun for themselves. They may have a challenge with getting out and engaging with others during the holiday. They may feel like have preconceived notions of how people will receive them during this holiday season, and just in their everyday life. So it could be difficult for them to get out and do things with people. And so they may experience heightened loneliness during this season. So some of the tips that you can use to help your child or your teen during this season is to pay attention to their needs. If anything seems like it's a little off or it seems like it's a little out of the ordinary, you should inquire and ask them if they're okay. Ask them how they're doing. If you're making little runs during the day, going shopping or to the grocery store or doing other things, you can include them. Or you can ask them if they want to go grab a bite to eat or want to go grab a cup of coffee, and just try to really engage them more throughout the day, especially if they are isolating a lot and you are sensing that they do feel lonely, or if you do sense that they are missing their loved one that has passed on, or if you as a parent have recently divorced and you're seeing someone new, or you have remarried. Then you want to try to include that kid in what's going on as much as possible, but also trying to make some time with just you and your child would also be really helpful in allowing them to express their emotions and their feelings. Also, it lets them know that you're there for them and that they're seen and you're there to listen to them so they can be heard in a safe space where it's not like your new spouse is coming along and they start to feel like in order to have a relationship with you, they have to have a relationship with that person. And that's just not necessarily true. And so you always want to be able to acknowledge their emotions. It's okay to have mixed feelings, to be sad and angry at the same time. So just acknowledge any feelings that they're having related to stress, sadness, or frustration without any judgment. Even if once they start to voice how they feel, you feel attacked and you feel like they're blaming you, still hear them out and try to be the voice of reason, the voice of calm. Don't try to defend yourself or explain yourself. Just simply be there for them and say, I understand how you could feel that way. I understand why you feel that way, and apologize for any wrongdoings that you may have done in the past. Focus on what you can control. So letting go of trying to control everything, focus on the things that you can influence, like how you spend time with them, how you find meaningful ways to celebrate the holiday season with them, and maybe just engaging them in planning some things over the holiday. Maybe this week trying to be a little bit more proactive to try to plan some things for New Year's Eve. I know Christmas is a couple days away, but just trying to plan something for New Year's Eve and possibly asking them if they would like a special snack or food item or something like that, if they would like to have people over, and just try to do things to have them engaged in like any planning, or have them engaged and let them know that you are willing to allow them to have people over and you are willing to just open up yourself to them in communication, which is listening, but also talking to them. But it's most important to really be able to listen. Set personal boundaries. As a teen, don't feel pressure to attend every event or keep up with everything. It's okay to take breaks or say no if something is feeling overwhelmed. Also, as a teen, building healthy, positive connections with people that you know and staying engaged with other people. And reaching out to people that you know and that you care about. And if there's somebody in your life that you trust, if you have a trusted adult that you would like to talk to, just having a conversation with that person and letting them know like that you could be struggling around the holidays, because you don't want to go through things alone. And sometimes the more that we go through things alone, the more it makes us feel like we don't have anybody. And that's not always true. Most people have somebody that they can connect with. And if you don't have someone that you can connect with, then in a way where you can trust that person to talk to that person, then you possibly could seek professional counseling. And if you want to have someone to talk to where you don't feel like judged or anything like that, then it definitely would be good to seek professional counseling. And so for parents, you can be an active listener. You can let your child express themselves openly without jumping in to fix their problems. Sometimes they just need to feel heard. You can use prompts like, "It sounds like you're feeling," and name the feeling, or "Tell me more about that." Also, a good technique is to mirror what they're saying, so they know that you're listening to them and that you're engaged. Model healthy coping skills. Show your child how to manage stress positively, such as taking walks, deep breaths, or finding humor in tough situations. They'll learn by watching you, and a lot of how they deal with things is what they've seen growing up. So some of their reactions is going to be the reactions that you have had or displayed before them. So just offer them some grace during those times. Set realistic expectations and help your family to keep holiday traditions manageable. Emphasize that the holidays sometimes isn't going to look like a movie or a fairy tale or an Instagram post. But try to do things that are really meaningful, and time is the most valuable thing that we can give each other. So just making time for your child or your teen is really, really like something that we can't measure. And just create meaningful moments. Focus on small, meaningful ways to celebrate. Watch a movie together, bake cookies, or simply spend time talking. These moments can help offset stress and strengthen your bond. Encourage your child to engage in community. Encourage your child to find community. Encourage your child to make friends. And help them to know what friendship looks like. A lot of times, I think that just with social media and everything like that, with kids having friends, sometimes they don't realize that your friends aren't supposed to be mean to you. You know, like, you will have disagreements with your friends. You aren't going to agree about everything, but to have someone that says that they're your friend and they are mean to you and they hurt your feelings and treat you bad, that's not a friend. So it's really good to talk to them about the relationships that they have, so you can help them to navigate what that looks like and what it should look like and what a healthy relationship looks like. Because sometimes if they have negative peers and then everyone around them has negative peers, and they don't know that some of the things that they're experiencing is unhealthy, and that's not what real friendship looks like. And so you always want to be checking for signs of distress. You want to be aware of signs that your child may be struggling more than usual, such as any withdrawal, like we talked about isolation before, any persistent sadness or changes in behavior. If needed, don't hesitate to seek help again from a counselor or a mental health professional. The holidays can be complex for children and teens. There's always so many things going on in life, and I think in a lot of different situations, teens and children especially are kind of like pulled along, especially if they're really young. And sometimes we don't consider how they may feel about things, how they may view things, and how they may see things, and how they're experiencing what we're doing in our world, how they're experiencing it in their world. And I think that's really important to pay attention to. Your role as a parent is so crucial. So fostering open communication, modeling positive coping skills, creating supportive environments, you can help your children and teen feel valued and prepared to face the challenges of not only the holiday season, but any season in their life. Because as a parent, it is the best opportunity that you have to nurture and grow your child into a responsible, whole, complete human being. And so the way that that is done is through modeling and having opportunities to have conversations to make them feel like it's okay for them to make mistakes. They're not going to do everything perfect. They are learning and growing. And just to be there for them and to have understanding, like no matter what you do, I'm still going to love you as your parent. There may be some things that I could be disappointed about or some things that I may not like, but as a person, I'm always going to love you. I'm always going to be here for you. And so I think that that's something that has to be spoken at times, because it's not always understood from a child's point of view that it's okay for me to make mistakes and my parent is going to love me anyway. And so I think fostering those conversations and having an open dialogue with your kid about any and everything. I tell my kids, like, there's nothing you can really tell me that I haven't seen, done, or heard. And so there's nothing that you could say that I would be like, like totally shocked about. And so it's okay. I would rather you tell me that these things are happening or you're doing these things than for me to be in the dark and not have the opportunity to guide you through whatever you're going through, or just at least give you an adult perspective. Because getting advice from your friends, that's fine for friendship purposes. At the end of the day, your friends are experiencing it in real time like you are, and so they don't have the same lens on it. They're looking at it like this, where parents are looking at it where you can see the big picture. And so I think that's very important to start to build that relationship with your kids, not only during the holiday, but every day, where they know that they have a safe space where you're not going to judge them, but you are going to be a voice of reason and you are going to be their parent. You're not trying to be their friend. So when something happens, you are going to give them parental advice because you're not their friend. However, you also don't want to make them feel uncomfortable where they can't come talk to you and they feel judged. So it's a balance, and you're not going to get it right every time. I don't get it right every time, but I try my best to show them that I do love them and that I'm not judging them and that I accept them in their mistakes. But I just want them to be the best that they can be. And so I think that all parents want that for their kids. So just to wrap it up and say that, again, as parents, the role that we have is so crucial, and just making sure that our communication is open, that we're modeling emotional intelligence, that we are modeling what it looks like to handle conflict, what it looks like to handle disagreements, that we are modeling those things. And we're not going to get that right every time, because a lot of us are still learning and growing as well. But just creating a supportive environment where your kids feel nurtured, where they feel heard, where they feel understood, and helping your kid or your teen feel valued and prepared to face challenges is so important. I can't say that enough. And so I just wanted to reiterate that. So and understand that we really want to raise kids that become adults that can handle challenges. And so whatever challenges they have a very hard time overcoming as kids and teens, if they don't continue to grow, they will have those same challenges as adults. And so thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have an awesome night.